Hello everybody. Today we're going to be discussing metal detecting and what are the most important things for you to find more treasure in the future. Stick with me to the end because I have some valuable information for you. So as many of you know, the metal detecting hobby is just growing by leaps and bounds. We have people joining this hobby of all different ages, from little kids all the way up to people who are in their 70s, 80s, and some of them on up. It's a great hobby. It's something that people can get out there. They can find locations where they can go, and if they just want to dig up some change or maybe find a little bit of jewelry, or possibly find some old history out there. It's for all different types of people. If this is something that you enjoy, then I want you to keep enjoying it. And that's what the purpose of this video is. I want to tell you what is the most important things that you need to do in order for you to find more treasure. But there's also going to be a few warnings for you. These are protective warnings so you don't get discouraged in this hobby. So I've been metal detecting for approximately 30 years. And back in the beginning when I got started, there were a lot more places to go metal detecting. Since that time, there have been some places that have been shut down due to complaints of people tearing apart, yards and the ground and everything else. So there have been some restrictions made. I did a video previously discussing how to properly dig your holes, dig the plugs, and then fill them in properly to where it doesn't look like you've been there. That's one of the things that you need to watch out for. What I am concerned about is I have been seeing some things on YouTube here lately that is concerning to me because I feel that it is a discouragement to a lot of people. And this is what we don't want to see. We do not want to discourage people who are new to the hobby. Like I say, this is a good hobby. It's good for kids. There is nothing wrong with it. It gets them out of the house, gets them off of their cell phone, gets them off the games, gets them outdoors where they can get some vitamin D from the sun and enjoy life and experience things. It's an adventure. So we want to make sure that you, as a beginner detectorist, do not get discouraged. In my years of detecting, I have used many detectors. I have probably used, 10 or so detectors that I've owned. Some of them I still have, some of them I don't. And each and every one of those metal detectors has found treasure for me, and very good treasure. I've found some things that were just great that I never thought that I would ever find. And with that being said, there's too much emphasis being put on the internet of which is the best detector, and my detector is better than yours, my detector is more powerful than yours, my detector will find more treasure than yours. That's completely false, you guys. There have been people, and there have been little kids that have been metal detecting for the very first time with a very cheap little metal detector, a no-name brand metal detector, and just happened to stumble over the right spot, get a signal, dig down, and find something that just absolutely changed their life. And this can happen to anybody. Where I do see it is great to have the best metal detector that you can afford, but at the same time, you need a metal detector that you can comprehend and be able to use it with ease. We're not engineers. Most of us don't go into the depth of metal detectors to the point of what the engineering was in it. We don't care about that. I really don't care about that. Knowing how that detector is made isn't going to really benefit me when I go out to a place to go metal detecting. What I do want to know are the basics of that metal detector. What do each of the functions in that metal detector do? But it doesn't have to get to the point where you have to go to college to learn it. Just the basics, you guys. There's been a lot of treasure found with people who do not understand their metal detectors. With that being said, metal detecting is a hobby that you can pick up a metal detector, you can learn how to turn it on, put in a preset program that the company has already put there, just turn it on to that preset program, and then just start swinging. You may not have that metal detector set up properly for you. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you what the most important thing is getting over the target. That is the most important thing. I don't care what metal detector you are using or what settings you have in the metal detector. If you do not walk over the target, you're not going to find it anyway. So, if you can afford a $200 metal detector or you can afford a $3,000 metal detector, either way, you still have to get over the target. So that's number one right there. I am seeing a lot of things where we're getting too technical for most people. I would say that there's probably out of all the people metal detecting, maybe 95% of the people really don't go into extreme depth of the settings of metal detectors. And it's okay. It's okay. And I learn all the time. There's still things I need to learn about metal detecting and metal detectors. I would like to be able to learn my detector to benefit me if I want to learn how to make my detector go a little bit deeper, or how to stabilize it, or how to be able to use it in trashy ground to where I can hear signals instead of the garbage that's in the ground. But still, those can be pretty basic. There's no need to complicate this. And I don't want you guys to get on the internet, get on YouTube and start watching videos that seem to be like, oh, wow, I didn't know, what kilohertz means what kilohertz. What does that kilohertz do? What does that kilohertz do? What is multi-frequency? I don't want you guys to get confused in that because it's basic. What I want you to do is get the metal detector that you can afford that's within your budget, something that you think that you could really enjoy and not worry about, well, I just spent my life savings on a metal detector and I probably shouldn't. I don't want you to have any regret. That's all, folks. I don't want you to have any regrets about this hobby at all. So don't worry about the technical end of things so much. If you are seasoned in the hobby, that's one thing. If you want to go deeper in depth, digging into the functions of the metal detector and getting into the scientific parts of it and everything else, great. Do what you got to do. But for those of you who are starting out, turn on your metal detector, go metal detecting, and start finding treasure, because you will. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to do this. This can be a very basic hobby, or it can be complicated, however you want to do it. So I recommend keeping it basic. Now, with that being said, as I already previously stated, if you don't get over the target, it doesn't matter what metal detector you're using. So, the most important part, and this is the part that I said was going to be the most important, you guys, it's not the metal detector that you're using. I represent MINELAB. Okay, MINELAB, I am very honored that they chose me to be one of their United States detectors. I'm proud of that. I think that's just great. I'm happy. But it doesn't take a detector to do this. I represent MINELAB. They are an awesome metal detector. But there's also other detectors out there as well. Many people enjoy different brands. I don't care what metal detector you have or what metal detector you choose to buy, as long as it serves you the way that you want it to. If you can go out there, if all your goal is to go out to a park and find change, and you needed a $200 metal detector to do that, then great. I can help you choose what metal detector for your budget and for the purpose of what you're looking for to help get you the metal detector that you need. So you can contact me if that's the case. But here we go. The most important part of metal detecting is not the metal detector. It is your research. Guys, you can read books. You can read these treasure books that you can order online that says lost treasure, you know, and it's going to give you a list of different treasures that you can find in different states or that have never been recovered in different states. Those are fun to read. They're great. But the problem is they are written in a book that are available to each and every person in the world. You can go to Amazon and order the book, and many thousands of people have read this same book, and many thousands of people may have gone and searched for the treasures that are in that book. The details are the same for everybody. So I suggest that you take your research to a different level. It's good to go to the library. And as you read local history, sometimes you're going to find leads to places. You're going to find little stories of something somewhere in a local history book that not millions of people have looked at. And that could be your own personal lead. If you have 100 people metal detecting one area, it's going to be harder to find targets. But if you find your own lead, your own historical place that nobody else has really heard about, then you have a greater chance of finding something really, really good. You can find some old history there, just depending on what you're doing. You may have found an old swimming hole that nobody else knew about because it was way back in the 1920s and everybody forgot about it. It's a lost memory. But you read about it in an old history book of your local history, and now you know where that swimming hole is at. You go there with permission. Be sure you get your permissions and find out that it's legal to hunt there. And you go, and all of a sudden you're finding stuff from the 1920s, back when people used to swim that old swimming hole. So the research is everything, you guys. You can have a metal detector of any kind, and you can go to where everybody else goes and not do too well, or you can do your research and go out there and find some great treasure. So, but what I want to say is don't get discouraged. If you start seeing people who are telling you that you're not going to do any good because you don't have that $1,000 or $2,000 metal detector, ignore it. If people are discouraging you because they make it sound like you have to understand every function that's inside that metal detector before you can go and use it properly, ignore it. That is not correct. You can take it, charge it up right out of the box, put in a preset program, and go find treasure. If you have any questions, you guys, feel free to contact me. You can find me at Sodbusters Metal Detecting Facebook group. And I'm willing to answer questions anytime. If you guys are looking to get into the hobby of metal detecting and you don't understand what metal detector you want to buy, get a hold of me. I'll be happy to, sit down and figure out what type of metal detecting you want to do and what your budget is. And then we can decide what might be the best metal detector for you. So feel free to contact me anytime. I appreciate you guys joining me, and I ask you, if you do get into this hobby, or even if you're already in the hobby, that you please check out the rules, make sure it's legal to detect where you're going to detect, and get the permissions that you need. Fill in your holes, guys. Do this with integrity, because it really does mean, it's the future of our hobby. We either keep this with integrity and show people that we're doing a good thing, or we can lose the hobby altogether. It's that important. But anyway, guys, I know this was kind of a long video, and I just really think it's important. Ignore the noise, okay? Ignore the noise on the internet, people griping and going back and forth saying whose detector is better than the other guys. It doesn't matter, you guys. There is a point of detectors that you want to stay within. I don't recommend going the very cheapest you can find because that will be discouraging. But at the same time, it doesn't take your entire life savings and a college degree to go metal detecting. So if you hear people on the internet talking that way, just get off that video and ignore it because it's just going to discourage you, and that's what I don't want to see. You guys need to enjoy this hobby. It's a very good one. All right, you guys, there we go. Kind of another rant, I guess. I guess I've been watching too much YouTube and it's getting to me a little bit. But anyway, good luck to you out there. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.